Please, it's 11 o'clock. We will go ahead and get started. It's awful hot. I want to thank each and every one of you that came out today. We're trying to get them to plant shade trees all across the front, but we haven't succeeded yet. But again, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming, and we'll proceed on. I'm Reverend Hill, and I'll be your master of ceremonies today. And I want to thank, like I said again, each and every one of you for coming out. We're gathered here today to honor our veterans dead from all wars. If you happen to be standing by a veteran, reach out and shake his hand, his or her hand. And again, thank you for what you've done. First, if you would, all of you that are able, would you please rise, face the American flag, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Present, come on. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, come on. Be seated, please. Today we're very fortunate to have a speaker that can tell us something about the military. He can probably tell us a whole lot, and a lot that we don't really want to take time to do. He started out with an 11-page speech, and we've dwindled it down with several people's help, so I think you got it down there pretty short. But he'll be brief and he'll get to the point. We have with us today Lieutenant Colonel, retired Lieutenant Colonel Steve Ruiz, United States Air Force. And he's currently working as the instructor for the junior ROTC at Southside High School. At this time, I introduce to you Lieutenant Colonel Ruiz. Sir.
First, I'm honored to be here this morning. I was quite humbled actually when Rayburn asked me if I would be the guest speaker. I said, you sure you want me? Because I haven't done anything really spectacular in my military career. However, I'm very honored to be here this morning. And again, what I'd like to do is share with you some of the vignettes, some of the stories of those people that were very important to me, and perhaps you can relate this to people who are very important to you and to your military careers. And of course, I also include with that those family members who supported those military members as well. So if you allow me, please, to go back a few years here. James earned this. Earned this. I don't know if you remember the movie Saving Private Ryan, but the dying words of Captain James Miller, John Miller rather, and his dying words of Private Ryan said, James, earn this. Earn this. If you allow me a bit of literary license, I'd like to bring alive the immortal lines of President Lincoln from his Gettysburg Address, for which Memorial Day was born. And I'll bring them to present terms, if you will. 12 score years ago, our fathers brought forth to this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all are created equal. We have engaged in many wars in the past, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We met on many a great and bloody battlefield of many wars and continue to do so even today. We've dedicated portions of those fields worldwide as a final resting place for those who gave their lives that our nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. Have we earned this liberty? Have you earned this liberty? Have I learned this liberty? It's a tough question to answer. Many of you have served in the military but do not consider yourself military heroes. I say you should. You answered the call of service to your nation. You may consider your service a job, but it was and is a job that not everyone wants to do or is called to do. A fellow faculty friend of mine, Stan Newell, was your typical teen graduating in the late 60s. Got drafted into the Army and served in Vietnam as a private. I'm sure many of you can relate to that. One unfortunate day, he got separated from his unit and was seized as a POW. His next 6 years were spent moving from one POW camp to another. He survived and returned to his country with honor. In his own words, "I'm no hero. I got captured by the enemy, and I survived. I'm nothing special." Did Stan earn the liberty he returned to? Absolutely. He served under the most unfavorable conditions a service member can endure, retained his faith in God and country, and returned, in my eyes, a hero. He continued to serve in the military, earned 2 college degrees, an officer's commission, and retired as a lieutenant colonel. No trip to Washington, D.C. is complete without a stop at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. I only knew Gary Ordino by name. We went to the same church, the same schools, but we weren't really friends. He was 8 years older than me, but I do remember his photo in the local paper when he entered in the military, shortly after he graduated. And I grimly remember the church's somber death toll as his funeral procession assembled on a hot July afternoon in 1967. He was 19, I was 11. I do know he's memorialized on panel 24E, row 13 of that same Vietnam Veterans Memorial. He is one of more than 58,000 others who answered the call of their nation and served. Was he and thousands like him a hero? The answer from Gary and his comrades in arms would probably be no. But in my eyes, the answer is certainly yes. Growing up, I wondered if I had what it took rather to serve as Gary did, or like others I knew from my neighborhood, such a person named Manuel Rotolo, who enlisted in the Marines, or Kerry Jambone, who enrolled in something called Air Force ROTC at the University of New Orleans, my alma mater. My dad, James G. Ruiz, answered Uncle Sam's request to serve in 1945. Spent time training at Pensacola, Fort Bliss, and Fort Ord. He was married, 29 years old at the time, 6 years married, with 2 young boys, ages 3 and 1. Due to ship out in 1946 as replacement troops, he was directed to report to Camp Isaac Shelby, Mississippi for discharge. I was kind of glad he did, because he survived the war. 3 uncles, younger than my dad, also served in World War II. One, Jake Earhart, as a combat medic in Europe. His brother, Jake Earhart, as a CB in the Pacific, and another, Bruno Selson, in the Army in Europe as well. Growing up, they never shared any first-hand war stories or experiences with me, and their only advice, for whatever reason, was to stay away from the military. In particular, never trust any officers. All 4 were discharged honorably, and each successful in their chosen professions and faithful to their families. And did they earn it? I certainly think they did. But as I approached high school graduation, I wondered what my decision would be regarding service to my country and how I would earn it. In the early 60s, when my older brothers and their friends were seeking to avoid the military draft, I felt I needed to represent the family. My brother, James M. Ruiz, 11 years older than I am, enlisted in the Coast Guard, 64. Managed not to be part of the forces sent to Vietnam, but did face a more formidable foe with a woman named Betsy, Hurricane Betsy. He served aboard a cutter in the Gulf during hurricane season for 2 years, and as a radio man during rescue missions, wondered how this ship ever stayed afloat. He later would put his life on the line every day as a New Orleans policeman for 20 years, and then retired. He lives now near Lafayette. From the moment I first buttoned my Air Force Junior ROTC shirt in 1972, I felt a sense of pride. Hearing the war stories of World War II from Colonel Lewis Cole, my instructor, dug that pride ever deeper. He served as a Goonie Bird pilot, flying the hump in Asia. Frankly, he said, I was lucky to be alive. I was always thankful he did survive World War II, Korea, and Vietnam service, because he was one of the major reasons I sought ROTC in college. I wanted to pay back Colonel Cole for his service, for coming to my school, and motivating me to serve in the military. In an indirect way, I was also paying back my dad and my uncles for their service in World War II as well, even though they really didn't want me in the military. That's okay. Little did I know I was on my road to earning the family lifestyle I now enjoy today. Early on in my Air Force career, I volunteered to serve in the Base Honor Guard. And once again, I felt someone in my unit needed to serve. Why not me? What a somber and humbling experience, presenting the carefully folded memorial flags to the next of kin at military burials. As emotionally searing as these ceremonies were, I felt the need to serve in a way that these family members knew their loved one's service was appreciated and that they did earn the respect and admiration of an entire nation. It gave me even greater meaning when I received the casket flags of both my father-in-law, Harold T. Robertson, and my dad when they passed away. Both flags are stored in flag cases of honor in my home, ever reminding me that I must continue to earn what I have today. And fast forward to just this past Veterans Day, when one of my cadets, while looking at a PowerPoint video, if you will, a PowerPoint presentation of a military cemetery in the classroom, asked, "Are there people buried under those white stone things?" That was the exact words. Then it struck me, some people are not aware of what those white stone things actually represent. Rather than sharing my incredulity with the class, I patiently explained that the white headstones represent a military member, and sometimes spouse, who served their country, died, and are now buried at that spot. I also explained that there are military cemeteries across the globe containing the honored remains of military members, some near battlefields, others in places convenient to the surrounding population. I also explained that you will find military markers in thousands of cemeteries worldwide. Each one represents a member who found it in their hearts, just as you have, to serve their country to the best of their abilities. They've earned it. Even perhaps you've earned it. There is no greater feeling of sacrifice and awe than gazing across Arlington National Cemetery at the multitude of headstones adorning the Virginia hillside. The same can be said for the cemetery that I frequented quite a bit in my Air Force career, Fort Smith National Cemetery in Arkansas. Or actually standing above the remains of the USS Arizona in Pearl Harbor. But even here in Selma, Alabama, there are more than enough reminders of the sacrifice of military service through the years, with hundreds of military buried nearby Oak Park, within steps of where we stand. We're standing amongst these hollow memorials right behind me that contain the names of our Selma and Dallas County military servants. And of course, I don't let my class forget, and I ask you please don't ever forget, Commander Howard W. Gilmore of the USS Growler, who in the heat of naval warfare demanded that his crew take her down to save his ship and crew, though he knew he would certainly perish. Certainly he earned the respect and admiration of the United States Navy and of our nation with the award of the Congressional Medal of Honor. Certainly these earned it as well. Harken back to the words of Captain Miller. Did I earn this? Did we earn this? Ask yourself, did you earn this? Did we earn the sacrifice of hundreds of thousands who answered the call of military service? Did we earn the sacrifice of their families as well? Did we earn this? Did you earn this? It's only a question that can be answered from the heart and conscience. Back to President Lincoln. And I'd like to dedicate this to the folks' names behind me and all those people that are in the cemeteries that surround us. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men and women, living and dead, have consecrated their resting place far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor remember what I say here today, but it must never forget what our military members have done and continue to do for the cause of liberty. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which those who have served thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to the cause for which they gave their last full measure of devotion. that we here highly resolve that the dead of our nation shall never have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall always preserve freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall never perish from the earth. These were the lines of Abraham Lincoln, November 19th, 1863. And they're as true today as ever. To all the veterans that have served, that are living here today, that are before us, I salute you. To all the veterans of the past that are buried, I salute you. God bless America.